Welcome to the Healing Hour with Sarah O'Brien.
Hi guys, welcome to Thursday. We are back with the Healing Hour. Let me get myself adjusted. We were not here last week because I was off doing some self-care things. I had a doctor's appointment, ran some errands, did some retail therapy, got a massage. It was a nice half of the day for me. So I appreciate everybody just hanging tight and waiting for another episode, maybe catching those old episodes. Today we're going to be talking about burnout some more. There's so much that we could be learning about burnout. I have resources and information galore. So there's more to be said about it, which is what we're going to be talking about today. I will do my check-in and my 3 deep breaths, and then we will dive into some content. We have some good stuff at the end. I'm going to share some of my digital products with you guys and talk about what we have coming up for Circle of Friends Club. So hang tight. You don't want to miss anything in the show. I am kind of all over the place today. If you see, like, I have one hand done and it matches and one not. This is kind of like where I'm at in life this week. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling really drained. As a psychotherapist, it's been really heavy this week with my clients and with the state of things in the United States as the new administration has taken over and is changing a lot of things. It's just been a lot. I'm having my own financial concerns, healthcare costs, all kind of stuff is affecting me personally and professionally in a lot of ways. And it has not been a great week for me. So I'm not probably in the worst place I've been on this show. I can remember some past ones, but I'm also like a little scattered and all over the place and not feeling my best self. So as much as my self-care was good last week, I have to keep up with it because it doesn't continue into this week as more things are coming up. And so having to like reevaluate a little bit how to resource myself after this really kind of difficult and heavy week for me. So that is where I am at this morning. Let's take our 3 deep breaths. If you are present with us, you feel free to drop in the chat where you're at today. What is going on with you? What is true and real for you right now? A true feeling, a situation, an accomplishment. It could be anything. Go ahead and drop it to me. I would love to talk about it. Okay, 3 deep breaths. If you want to take them with me, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Try to elongate both that inhale and that exhale for nervous system relaxation. So here we go. In for the first one. Again, in and out. One more. Okay, that always sort of, washes over some calm for me. You guys have heard me say it before, but deep breathing is like a magic skill for your physiology, for your body, for your brain. It turns off cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and evokes a sense of relaxation and calm in your physiological system, in your body. And you guys probably notice it in just my attention and the speed of which I talk, and maybe my ability to think more clearly and put my sentences together a little bit easier. This is true for everybody. I love deep breathing as a skill, as a coping strategy, as a pause break for everything. It can't hurt you. It can only help you. You don't need props. It can't go wrong. Breathing is good for us. Learning how to deep breathe is even better for us. So take that to the bank and cash it, like I always say, when something is a slam dunk. Deep breathing is that. All right, we're going to get into some more information about burnout. There are my slides. Thank you, Jason. Okay. Honestly, guys, I can't even remember the question I put up on burnout last time. But burnout, this time we're going to be talking about what causes it, who's at most risk, and how do you recover from it. I know last time we talked about types, we talked about stages. Today we're going to be talking about some different things as related to it. So don't forget to catch the episode from 2 weeks ago. It's on the Circle of Friends website, and I think pretty soon all of these episodes, it's on the Circle of Friends YouTube channel, probably on our website too. And pretty soon it'll probably be on my YouTube channel, which is just YouTube/@TimelessTherapist, and the YouTube for Circle of Friends Club is YouTube/@Circle of Friends Club podcast. And you can find my shows under live streams. And you can catch the first episode and a lot of good information on burnout that's different from the information that we're talking about today from the show 2 weeks ago. Burnout. Burnout is an ongoing state of feeling overwhelmed, fatigued, and emotionally drained due to consistent stress in your work, family, or social life. Probably the same definition we had before, but worth revisiting. Today, we're going to be talking about causes, risk factors, signs to look out for, and how to recover from burnout. Well, briefly, we're going to talk about recovery. We could really do a lot more with that. So, what causes burnout? Is it just workload? Is it just as likely in men versus women? Like what precipitates somebody experiencing burnout? What causes this in people? Risk factors, which professionals are more likely to experience burnout, and what else can maybe put you at risk of experiencing burnout? Signs. How do we identify it? How is burnout different from stress? And what are the telltale signs that we can look for burnout that is different from stress and depression and some other things that may mimic or have some similar or overlapping signs and symptoms? And recovery. Do you recognize the symptoms of burnout? And then what can you do about it when you do? Okay, over here, we have this in green, any type of prolonged stressful condition. That is burnout in a nutshell, if we're going to sum it up pretty succinctly. Any type of prolonged stressful condition can cause burnout. Some information that I found is that in a couple of studies is that women report experiencing job burnout, not caregiving, not other things, guys, workplace burnout in higher numbers than men. And some life and work factors can contribute to this. What are some of the factors at work that can contribute to burnout or cause burnout? Unmanageable workloads, unfair treatment at work, confusing work responsibilities, immense deadline pressure. If we talk about unfair treatment at work, to me, this is probably part of the reason why women experience more job burnout than men, because in many, if not almost all workplaces, women are often still in the one down position. We're not respected as much. There's still the ceiling. We're not paid as much. Our opinion is not valued as much. Our expertise is not valued as much. And that unfair treatment at work can contribute to women experiencing burnout. It's a problem. Causes. Lack of communication or support from managers. These are things in the workplace, guys. Feeling unrecognized or unrewarded. Too much work and not enough rest, not enough time to rest or downtime. Like we need some space in the day where we're not actually just going from task to task to task to task. Like our brain needs a break. A feeling that work or life is out of your control. These are causes, like a feeling like things are out of your control can cause burnout. Work or responsibilities that feel too demanding, or, personal attributes like you taking on too much work and not asking for help. Now, some of this could be designed in your workplace. Like it's not a great place to ask for help and you have to take work on. But sometimes this is like a personality thing, or a values thing or a perfectionist thing, that you are taking on too much without asking for help. And if you do that for any prolonged period, it can be the cause of burnout. So Leaders, managers, supervisors, CEOs of workplaces, this is important. You need to be paying attention to this stuff. What is your communication like? How are you supporting the people that work for you? How are you recognizing and rewarding them? How are you giving them space in their day for their brain to take a rest or their body to take a rest? How are you managing their workload so that it's not too demanding and it's possible? Are you treating your employees unfairly? Is there too much pressure for deadlines? Is the job or the job task confusing? These are things that you can address, folks. These are often not things that the employee can address. We need leadership to be stepping in here. This is your job to be paying attention to these things for the people that work for you to avoid burnout, um, to avoid your staff experiencing burnout, which is going to cause a whole lot of problems for you and your business. Okay, so we left off with taking on too much without asking for help could be a personal attribute or it could be the nature of your workplace. What other types of things in workplaces can cause burnout? Boring or routine work, so doing the same thing over and over and over again, actually can cause burnout. Or chaotic or high stress work. So flipping it on the other side, right? We're on one end of the spectrum, then we're on the other end of the spectrum. Both can cause burnout. People maybe don't think about that, but if your work is boring and is not challenging enough, that's also not good for our brains and our bodies, or our emotional and psychological health. Few supportive or meaningful relationships. These are some things outside of work, having a support system, lack of adequate sleep. And then some things I mentioned before, personality traits such as perfectionism, pessimism, and a need for control. These things can cause burnout if you experience these things, if you find yourself in this place. It could be, and it's prolonged and it continues to go on. Like you continue to have lack of adequate sleep. You continue to struggle with having supportive relationships. You continue to struggle with perfectionism and a need for control in a prolonged kind of way can be the cause of burnout. Okay, so risk factors for burnout. Healthcare workers are at high risk for burnout and probably the highest risk for burnout due to the nature of the job. So, over 54% of nurses and doctors and about 60% of medical students and residents report burnout. Not a surprise to me. Does anybody know how the healthcare system works with them? Interestingly enough, new doctor I had as a client working in like a step up from an ICU unit. So very intense care, but not intense as an ER or an ICU, but still think really sick people. The schedule alone makes no sense to me for human beings to be able to function like that. I understand we have to staff these places 24/7, but the amount of hours that you expect a doctor to work to care for patients and call and speak with family members, other specialists to do paperwork is just insane to me, and scary. Also, I do not want a surgeon operating on me if they have been working a 24-hour shift. I'm sorry, I don't. I know how the human body works, and without sleep within that 24 period, their judgment, their precision, their ability to concentrate, all going down. The fact that this is expected in the healthcare profession and there is not built-in expectation for self-care and balance is a problem from where I see, and it makes sense that healthcare providers would burn out. There's also chronic drop. Get my voice on right. Maybe I should take a coffee break. Take your coffee break. Chronic job stress among healthcare workers can mean impaired judgment, like I'm saying. If you're stressed about it, if you're tired, if you don't have enough support, if there's not enough medical staff there, if you can't get everything done, if they're just expecting you to do more and it's physically impossible in the hours that you're there and the things that you have to do, this could mean that you have impaired judgment when it comes to patient care. And that should be a huge concern for anybody running any sort of healthcare at anything. I don't care if it's a hospital, if it's an outpatient clinic, if it's a mental health facility, if it's a public health facility, if it's a public mental health facility, we need to be paying attention to this. And it is C-suite and supervisors and managers and people in leadership that are the ones that can make the change here. The doctors, the nurses, the social workers, the case managers, the whomever are not it. We cannot make these changes. These are system changes. What other professions are maybe at risk for burnout? Teachers, any teaching professions, law enforcement, first responders, high risk. We can understand also this is like overworked, underpaid. That's probably teachers in burnout, asking way too much of them. Law enforcement, first responders. Again, it's a complicated schedule. It's maybe not enough support. It's safety risks, like even just that there could be safety concerns at your job will weigh more on your brain and your nervous system, and prolonged of that without breaks and without support and all the things we're saying can lead to burnout. Some other risk factors are if you have difficulty maintaining a work-life balance, either because the nature of the job doesn't allow you to have a balance, or because the way that you yourself work does not leave balance. That's a risk factor. If you have trouble with this, then you are at risk for burnout if you don't pay attention to that for yourself. I found this one to be interesting. Competitive workplaces with lots of high performers, right? So people competing against each other, risk for burnout, always trying to get ahead, trying to be better than the next person, probably doing more than is really reasonable or that you're capable of to try to get ahead. High pressure social and work environments. If you have high pressure social environments or high pressure work environments, this can lead to burnout. Cultural expectations about what you do. This could also be, there's like a big cultural expectation here in the West that women are caretakers of children, of elderly, of anybody. And so those cultural expectations that women take all that on puts us at risk for burnout. It's everybody else expecting us to do this. And therefore we expect ourselves to do this, but we're incapable. It's unreasonable. It's unrealistic based on our finite human capacity. Another risk factor, having a type A personality, being hyper-focused on work and achievement. And this falls sometimes a little bit into that perfectionism, perfectionistic kind of thinking. But type A is like wanting everything as so, for it to be linear, sort of being really rigid in things. And you can see without flexibility and openness, that also creates risk for burnout. Okay, how can we tell? How can we tell if we have burnout? Exhaustion. You may feel drained and unable emotionally to deal with problems around you, both professional and personal. You can feel low and experience extreme tiredness, leaving you without energy. And these symptoms can show up as physical pain and stomach or bowel problems. These are exhaustion, indicators of exhaustion, and exhaustion is a sign of burnout. Alienation from activities or isolating yourself, looking out for signs of cynicism, being really negative, and frustration towards work and colleagues or towards family and social situations, if that's where the burnout is coming from. The isolation or alienation from activities, you also want to, look out for the cynicism, this negativity and frustration towards your friends and family. And you may then start to distance yourself emotionally because it's overwhelming and because you're feeling so negative about things, and feel numb about your work and or other environment and or relationships. So exhaustion, alienation from activities. Another sign you might be experiencing burnout is reduced performance. This can occur at work or at home, like if you're caring for family members or children, because you have no energy left for everyday tasks. So no energy means that we can't do things well, or we can't do things as well as when we do have energy. So it's obvious that reduced performance or inability to perform tasks the way you used to before is a sign that you could be experiencing burnout. You might start to forget things or neglect responsibilities. Burnout can make it hard to concentrate or handle responsibilities or be creative. And if your job or your life requires any of this, you might have an inability to keep up with this stuff if you're experiencing burnout. Okay, exhaustion, alienation from activities, reduced performance, and then some mental burnout symptoms, experiencing self-doubt, helplessness, defeat, failure. You may feel that you're on your own or alone, losing your sense of purpose, feeling increasingly cynical, negative, dissatisfied, and incapable of doing things. If we get to this headspace about our abilities and who we are, and feeling hopeless that anything is going to change, that we can change anything at work or that we can change anything in our personal life, then we might just be in the pit of burnout. Okay, some physical signs of burnout. You might feel greatly fatigued and without energy, like we're talking about, without exhaustion. And it's not just like tired, like you didn't get enough sleep. It's like, brain, body, whole self exhaustion. You're likely to get sick more often, have body aches, recurring headaches, lose your appetite, and or experience insomnia. We can't explain these things away, guys. Like, oh, it's just stress, or oh, it's just this. It's like, this is not good for our health. Like, recurring headaches, losing your appetite, insomnia, getting sick all the time. This is not how we're meant to be. And if this is happening because of your workplace and because of burnout, this is a huge problem from where I sit. Like, that's ridiculous. We should not be killing ourselves, literally getting sick and killing ourselves early, dying early. Shortened life term is one of the things that we learned in episode 2 weeks ago with burnout. It's going to actually cut time off your life. We don't need that for work. Like, that, we have got to change the landscape here, guys, especially in healthcare. Okay, let's get a little bit of positive before we can talk about some announcements and some things. I need all my cups, and thank you everybody for hanging with me while I hydrate and caffeinate and address my dry mouth. Well, the first thing from recovering from anything is knowing what the problem is and realizing that you have burnout in the first place. Like, we can't get better from it if we're not calling it that. If you're just explaining it away, explaining being sick, tired, sore, cynical from any other reason, well, then we're not maybe going to recover from it or do things that are healthy for us to recover from it. So we need to recognize the problem as burnout, call it as such, and then start working towards creating some different routines and patterns so that we recover from burnout, that we don't stay in this negative, sick, not well place. So how do we do this? Prioritize your health, get more sleep, eat better, move your body, attend doctor's appointments, spend more time on actual self-care, whatever it takes to get back on track. I had to do this a couple of years ago, guys. I've had to do this twice as I burned out, got really near burnout professionally twice. Once was about 2 years into the pandemic, and you guys can imagine, as a mental health provider, like, it was just a lot at that point. And then the other time was right before I started my private practice. You guys have heard me talk a lot about the negative impact of the public mental health jobs I've had. And the last one I had was a lot of things that we talked about: not feeling supported by managers, no communication, not being recognized or rewarded enough, unsafe situations, unreasonable demands. Like, a lot of those types of things contributed to my burnout. And that required making a huge change in my employment so that I could address my health. And then a couple of years ago was the same. I had to reduce the number of clients I see. I've had to create more space in my day for self-care things. And it's not just things like painting my nails, but it's things like taking walks, moving slower, attending appointments, taking time to eat healthier foods, which requires more brain energy sometimes for me to plan those things, for me to engage in relaxing activities and things that can turn my brain and my body off so I can rest. This takes intentional effort, guys, and time. And so to prioritize your health, you're going to have to make changes. Like, that's how we address these things. You can't just keep doing the same thing and, add one tiny thing and think we're going to recover. Like, it's going to require looking at routines and patterns in your life at work and figuring out what you have control over and trying to take better care of yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but when it is done, you will notice the difference. If possible, remove yourself from your source of stress, keeping distance from it. You can't always leave a job or get rid of caregiving duties, but you may be able to take a vacation or a day or afternoon off to get a break. So, for me, in the first example of my burnout, it required me having to leave that job. Like it just did. And then the second time I'm experiencing burnout, it required me to make adjustments, A, to how I work, and B, to what I do in my time outside of work that's more focused on caring for myself and less focused on relationships, socialization, doing things for other people, or just, doing more stuff in general. Really had to slow down. But consider like a break or asking somebody to help you so that you can have a break even for an afternoon and rest. Like that will help. You need to do that regularly, but it will help. Consider what went wrong, what led to your burnout. I know in the first case, it's 100% the job, the structure of the job, the management of the job. Like it was 40 hours a week. So it's not like I was working a lot, but just the way that the work was, the expectations for me as a clinician, as an outpatient clinician in public mental health was just too much. But consider, is it your job that led to burnout? Does your work or life reflect your values? Asking yourself what brings you joy. Have you been doing those things or not? Thinking about what's most important to you. Are you prioritizing those things or not? If we're not prioritizing those things and we're not living into our values, then burnout is also likely. And then you can make changes. That's exactly what we're talking about. You have to make changes if you want to see this different. How do you avoid it? Should you leave a job or relationship or something? Do you need to get help with caregiving duties? How can you make your life less stressful? I know it sounds like this is impossible. It's like, Sarah, I have this, this, and this. I'm a parent. I have kids. They have activities. I have work. My spouse works. Da, 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 da. I know. I get it. Those can't always be excuses or reasons that we don't care for ourselves. We have to find a way to balance things. And expectations, especially over here in the United States, are all about work, money, spend money, capitalism. That's what it is. You have to actually be countercultural right now to take a step back and care for yourself. It's not a lot of what everybody is doing or demonstrating, and it's not a lot of what is like celebrated or recognized in this country, but it is better for you, and you have to accept that you're going to have to be different than maybe the people in the culture around you to take care of yourself. If you need help with this, if you need help figuring out ways to recover from burnout, how to make some changes or how to address these things, reach out to me for dedicated guidance and accountability with this. I can coach you through some things that you can do. We can follow up about how those are working. I am available for one-to-one coaching sessions this year. And I would love to help you through this because I know what it feels like to be on both sides of it. And now that I can pay more attention to what leads to burnout, I am hoping I can avoid it for the rest of my life and take better care of myself. Okay. I was just talking about my coaching services, and I have coaching packages that are available. I also have a free ebook, a low-cost book, and a little bit higher book of digital downloads that have lots of information. Like I said, I have so much. Even what I have in these ebooks is different than what I have talked about in the last two shows. Like it's not even a repeat of that information. It's even other new stuff that will really help you. So Jason's going to show us some of my digital products and what they look like, so you know how to find them on my website and determine which one you would like to get. So Jason, let's cue those up. So I think that's it, guys. Wait, let me go here. Okay, who am I? This is stuff about me. You guys know I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a licensed clinical social worker here outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm also licensed in Maryland. So if you are a resident of Virginia or Maryland, I can be your therapist. If you are outside Virginia or Maryland, I cannot be your therapist based on regs right now and until we get the interstate compacts, which maybe is coming in the next couple of years. But if you need trauma-informed coaching or consulting, I am available for those nationwide. Well, international, really, everywhere. I could do that. Okay, pick up the kits. Burnout Awareness, Burnout Recovery, one of the other kits. You can find those on my website. I think pretty soon they're going to be on the Circle of Friends website. Jason is dropping our weekly newsletter for Circle of Friends Club this Saturday. A lot of great announcements in there. One of the things that he is going to be giving information on is our Freedom Fight Expo. We have another one coming up this February. What days did we say those were? The 21st and the 22nd. I still think those start at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a panel of speakers for both days. It's going to be great. We're going to be talking about mental health, motivation, tapping into a lot of athletes and like the struggle for balance and things there. You don't want to miss that. There's going to be a lot of good information there. Check out the newsletter that's coming out this Saturday for all of those details, and including an exciting announcement from Jason about a new partnership that we have for Circle of Friends Club and our Freedom Fight Expos as related to mental health. The other thing that you'll find in the weekly newsletters from Jason and Circle of Friends Club is all of our weekly shows, including when my podcast, The Healing Hour, is going to come on. But we have other podcasts about healing and other types of motivation, mindset stuff, caring for yourself. Some of those other ones, check them out. Ugh, if I can get my words on. Check out the other shows that Circle of Friends Club hosts, and a list of those will be in the weekly newsletter. So I hope you guys got something out of this today, and some more information about burnout to help you. You guys know that basically what I'm trying to do is spread healing as far as wide as I can. I work in the one-to-one space, and I see healing and transformational change happen in psychotherapy all the time, but I work one-to-one with people there. And I would love to reach more people to find more healing and champion for trauma-informed care and trauma-informed leadership, because that is going to be healing for everybody in all places and spaces. Healing should be able to exist outside of the psychotherapy space, but the way that workplaces are set up, the way that leadership has been, does not allow a lot of room for healing, for safety, for nervous system care. And I champion for that kind of thing. So if you need me to consult or you need more information about trauma-informed care and trauma-informed leadership, you can find a lot of information on my website. And I encourage you to check out all that I have going on over there. I've written a lot of things. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of videos that I have on these topics. And my website, for anybody that needs it, is www.sarahobrienlcsw.com. I will see you guys next week. And I don't know what we're talking about yet, but I'll come up with a good topic. If you have anything that you want me to speak about, feel free to drop it in the chat for this show or in the comments there, or you can send me a DM directly if there's something that you want to touch on or want to learn more about. So I hope to see you guys next week. Take care of yourselves first and always. Bye.
Thank you for watching The Healing Hour with Sarah O'Brien. See you next time.